Hello and welcome to gunnersdaily YouTube channel, where we are covering all the latest Arsenal news and everything in between. How are we feeling today? We are having some interesting news that came out today. Edu Gaspar's award, Manchester City and Chelsea situation, and supercomputer that predicts who should Arsenal sign in this January transfer window. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so for some of you who might have not seen it, Arsenal's Edu Gaspar has won the Best European Director Award at Golden Boy 2023. The award, hosted by Italian sports newspaper Tuttosport and voted for by its board of legends, acknowledges Edu's work as Arsenal's first ever sporting director, which he began almost 1 year ago on November 19, 2022, after rejoining the club in the summer of 2019 as technical director. In his role as sporting director, Edu oversees Arsenal men's, women's and academy teams. Since taking on the role, Edu has overseen the signings and contract renewals of Arsenal's managers and key players that have played huge roles in our squads. So, congrats to Edu Gaspar, our Brazilian Giuseppe Marotta. Alright, so let's take a quick look at some of your comments before we move on to the next one. Daniela says, he's total class. That's what we need, is more legends running our club. They have the love for the club, they want the best for us as a club. Nana says, kudos, more hits than misses. We need him to support Arteta deliver EPL and UCL. Adrian B says, thanks for bringing Kai Havertz and Jorginho to this squad. Garfield Review says, meanwhile, Arteta is being charged for speaking truth. True. Haley says, great Edu, he deserves some what a revolution he brings to Arsenal for the last 2 years. Best signing, Declan Rice. Worst signing, Nicolas Pepe. Bossman Bossy says, the only awards that are important is the one that is earned on the football pitch. Win is a title, Edu, and this bogus award might mean something. King Kenzo says, my thoughts, invincible and legendary. Jack Williams says, his signings are one next to nothing. The same guy that didn't show any ambition and just wanted to see players play. A bit player of the Invincibles and barely contributed. But failures get rewards nowadays. That's how screwed up the football world is, and his fanboys are lapping it up. Outplay says, what has he done for this club? Oh, that's right. Kai Havertz on 300k a week. How the hell did he win? Granny Jaka says, Havertz on 350k a week, who gonna buy him from us? I don't know. Mike Santana says, how? Arsenal hasn't won anything except that FA Cup. For your information, those weren't Arteta Edu's players. Nate says, man signed Martinelli, worth massive respect just for that. Jack says, whoever has the job at Brighton is the real winner. I agree with that. Whoever has the job at Brighton is doing some magnificent work. Alan Vick says, Christ, they give out rewards for anything these days. XXC Tactical says, he's holding us back as a football club, useless director. Nicholas Mutual says, congratulations. Ronnie says, best signing was all except Havertz. Chronicle says, without Kai Havertz and Jorginho signing maybe. Ryan says, Edu is part of the problem. 5 Unam says, I'd like any fan to name me 5 players Edu has made a profit on via player sales. Sporting Director of the Year, my ass. Trader Giacomo says, what a pointless award for a mediocre guy. And that would be all. So write down in the comments, what are your thoughts on Edu Gaspar's work as our sporting director so far? How would you rate him from 1 to 10? Okay, so let's move to the next one. Obviously, I guess most of you have seen or heard about this. But as for the Premier League news, given the 10-point deduction handed to Everton, the threat of a 30-point deduction or automatic relegation from the Premier League would look to be very real for both Manchester City and Chelsea should charges be proved in an independent regulatory commission, according to the Times. Everton's sanction was for a single breach of Premier League rules, while City have been charged with 115 alleged breaches, although City's case is not likely to be settled for at least 2 years. Chelsea remain under investigation, but charges look inevitable given that the new owners have self-reported what appear to be substantial payments that would have broken PL rules during the previous ownership under Roman Abramovich. Big trouble potentially on the way for Manchester City and Chelsea. But now, let's take a quick look at some of your comments. Emil Crow says, it's nice to know around all the corruption in the world of football that my granddad and my club, despite all the frustrations of its tenure over the past 20 years, have still some form of respectability. Always good to be a gunner. Always good to be a gunner. Fazit says, nothing will happen to City. If anything, they'll get a 10-point increase. Robin Love says a 10-point deduction is a very short-term punishment for Chelsea or City. I'd like to see transfer bans for several windows or spending caps. Silius Soudus says, I reckon due to self-reporting and Chelsea copium that they will get around 25-30 point deductions. Man City though, don't go anywhere. Chad says, doesn't matter, won't be charged anyways for at least the next 5 years. And if they get relegated, they are getting promoted back-to-back anyways with 150 points. John Connor says, Everton were handed a 10-point deduction for one accusation. So for Man City with 115 accusations hanging over their head, anything less than relegation to a non-league division would be an embarrassment for the regulators. Lucas React says, if they were found guilty today for City and Chelsea, they should deserve down to League 2 like what Rangers got in 2012. I don't think EFL will do it for a few years' time. Dabo says these socialist rules are ridiculous. If an enterprise takes too much risks and finds itself in bankruptcy, it's the problem. Barry May says the FA will never impose any sanctions against Manchester City as they seem to get away with whatever they want to. Chelsea could get punished even harsher than Everton if proven guilty, as it will be far more misdemeanor. Arkley says relegation won't affect any of them, they'll just go into a rebuild process where they abuse the fact their owners own other clubs and use loan signings to get around FFP until they get back in the Prem. Jamie says if City got a 30-point deduction, they would still probably make 4th and then win the league next year. Probably. The Ovi Show says good punishment if allegations are proven is limit their spending over the next few years. What will probably happen is no more than 10-point deduction, which is a slap on the wrist for them and a spit in the face of Everton and the rest of the league. Owsy says just make it a points deduction. Dutzer says Chelsea will get a points deduction when it means fuck all this season. City, well, they'll just get a pat on the back as it's City and Pep. Jeffrey says Man City transfer embargoes for the next 3 years, a £500 million fine and 30 points deduction. Avishek Akash says Man City have a high class of lawyers. The hacker who did reported that alleged charges won't be proven as trusted source. The hacker who did report that alleged charges won't be proven as trusted source, I think. Chelsea can budge, but City won't. City will clear it. Besides, Man City won't get point deduction. They have a proper system and at best will get a fine, still doubtful. But I think they would clear it eventually. City have made themselves big and they will find loopholes and prove all things legitimately. After they clear it, I tell you, they will come after every big club mistakes indirectly, even though it's small or not. And Gary the Snail says, without City, half the views from foreign countries wouldn't be there. Unfortunately, the Premier League would love City to be on TV every day. Alright, and that's mostly it. So Gunners, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? If the allegations are proven to be true, do you think Chelsea and Manchester City should get kicked out of the Premier League? Write down in the comments and let's move on to the next one. Supercomputer predicted January transfers Arsenal should make. Though Arsenal forked out more than £200 million in the summer on the likes of Rice, Kai Havertz and Jurrien Timber, as well as a loan for David Raya, they are expected to make further additions at the turn of the calendar year. And the X-Gold supercomputer that comes from the algorithms from Total Football Analysis has eyed up who the Gunners should pursue and at what price. So let's see. Pervis Estupinan. The Brighton left-back is yet another example of the quality operation taking place at the Amex. The Seagulls have exercised the South American market well, and Estupinan has been an impressive performer in the final third. His ability to tuck into midfield will also aid Arsenal's philosophy, which often sees them have greater possession than their rivals. Unlike Alexander Zinchenko, who is a favorite, the Brighton man is a natural defender, which adds to what he can offer. Kepren Thuram. Liverpool had eyes on the Nizza midfielder before they opted to pursue other avenues in the summer. The 22-year-old French international is the son of Le Blues legend Lilian and is a similar profile to Rice, but, like the ex-Hammer, can also drive through midfield impressively. He's created 14 chances for his Nizza teammates so far this term, more than one per game. Last term, Arsenal benefited from having two holding midfielders behind Martin Odegaard, and Thuram would allow them to revert back to that system. And the last but not least, Sergio Guirassy. The 27-year-old marksman has been in blistering form this term for Stuttgart, scoring 15 goals in 9 games in the Bundesliga. Guirassy could prove to be a bargain purchase in January, with reports stating he has a clause in his contract that would allow him to leave for just £15 million. Guirassy's physical presence in the box would present Arsenal with a different dynamic and enable them to be more direct when the time calls. Now tell me, what are your thoughts? Do you think Arsenal should sign any of these players in the January transfer window? Write down in the comments. I wouldn't mind Guirassy, to be honest. And that is pretty much it regarding the latest news that happened today. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Thank you and see you on the next one. Peace.